Hey, what up, what up? It's the homie Pedro. I'm gonna tell y'all about how to win a street fight, all right? I have 21 years mixed martial arts experience. I also grew up in the wise words of some lady who, adopted a bunch of kids. I was a street rat when I was 5, which, I mean, it is still a lot, stuff like that, but 5 years old, you learn little tricks, like swallow air so you're not hungry. You know what I mean? Shiver so you're not hot. Don't shiver so you're not cold. But I'm gonna tell y'all about street fighting. All right? And there's two types of people. There's two types of people when it comes down to it. There's a type of person that's been fighting for their life the whole entire time. And then they get trained. You know what I mean? Like when we're talking about trained fighters. So two different types of trained fighters. Those are dangerous people. Those are your Amanda Nunez's. Those are, those are the world champs. And then there's a second type. The one who runs a dojo and stuff like that and doesn't, do anything. Well, funny story about that. So they grow up nice. They don't go through much, like, heartache, headache, whatever. I mean, they think what they're doing is tough, but they grow up like in a nice neighborhood, all this stuff. You know what I mean? And then they get into kickboxing or aikido or whatever the heck. Then they decide to step in the cage or something like that. Or they, God forbid, get into a street fight. What a street fighting do. So I'm gonna tell you how to win a street fight. How you win a street fight is, say you got 20%. Or let's just 0% to 100% is what we're gonna go our energy levels, right? 100% means gassed out, totally gassed out. Whether you want to do 0 miles per hour, 100 miles per hour, whatever. You can go to 110, but once you get that 110, you're gonna get that adrenaline crash either way. And 110 also might get you 25 years in the pen. So did not mean to make that rhyme, but whatever. Whenever I've had street fights, and mind you, I'm 50-1 on the streets, all right? Well, 50-ish and one. Like, I lost count after 50. I remember the one loss, all right? Ended up being my best homie. He's still alive after getting shot 13 times, all right? So dude's a badass, all right? Like, I hit him with everything I could. Dude would not drop, all right? So, but there's the thing. You want to be at about 10%, 20% of your fighting energy before the fight happens. What most people do as a mistake is that they're like 80, 90, 100 already. So they're like way up there and like their adrenaline just spikes. And then what happens when the fight happens? They have the adrenaline dump. All right, that happens to most people. Now, sparring, if you spar enough, you get to about 20 to like 60, whatever, depending on, there are certain sparring sessions where I'll just go 100, they go 100. We have a gentleman's agreement, like, let's go 100, see who gets who. Always do that. I always do it like once or twice before a fight just to make sure I'm okay. To like, fight. About 2 or 3 weeks, before a fight. But we're talking about street fighting. So street fighting, you always want to be at like 20% before the fight. Now, when the fight goes on, I suggest you start off at about 40 to 60. But you got to be able to hit 40 to 60 pretty dang quick, because you don't know if they have a gun, a knife, or anything like that. And that's when you can jump to 100. See, so things can go off really quick. But if you know they're boxing one-on-one or striking one-on-one, wrestling one-on-one, you want that 40 to 60. And you want to stay at that pace for about a good minute, because they're going to be at 100. And then within that minute, they're going to do the adrenaline dump. And once they're dumping their adrenaline, that's when you go, do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. And then you go, boom, knock them out. Or you could, wrestling, same thing. Man, people get so tired so fast. Because also you don't know, like they might be under the influence of something. Or they might be a chronic smoker, chronic drinker. You know what I mean? Like, I need to stop saying like my videos. So that's one thing. I mean, sorry if that's a pet peeve. You know, I don't want to be like, all the time. But either way, like it, subscribe, stuff like that. I'm giving you gems. 21 years of trained mixed martial arts. All right. So, I mean, I've noticed this though in street fights. Like, there I go again, saying like. Anyways, 21 years, and I've noticed the people who started off street first, they always win. They always win those street fights. I've witnessed people who just, they've been training, good household. Fight with a random homeless person, man, they get clocked. And they're like, oh, I don't know how that happened. Their nose all bleeding, everything like that. And then eventually they might get them. You know what I mean? But that's after they like get spit on, the face, dude biting them, like all sorts of craziness. You never know what's going to happen in a fight. That's why I trained at Fight for Your Life boxing gym. It says it in Fight for Your Life, you know? Unfortunately, it tanked, economy going weird, stuff like that. And then I trained with Jeremy Horn, like I've said before, seen in my older video where I talk about, my first fight, and the pics to prove it. The problem with my opponent was he grew up in a good background, so he didn't know how to control anything like that. I brought a street fight into a cage match, but I just, I didn't, that's wrong, because I didn't bite him or spit on him or anything like that. I just brought a little extra energy. I just put it that way. But yeah, if you want to win a street fight, you have to control your adrenaline. Cannot let it exceed too much, but you can't be below 20. You know what I mean? You can't be 2 to 10. You can't be below that. You gotta be right here. You can't do this. You can't do hands down, hand down, man down. You gotta be right here. All right. And then once ish pops off, you go right there. Okay. One love. Stay safe. Peace out. Fight for your life. And what's stronger, you or your excuses? Let me hear in the comments anytime you had an excuse that kept you from doing it. I'll do myself right now. I've had an excuse the other day where I was just like, man, my toes kind of hurting, but it wasn't hurting that bad. It just, worked out harder, and I could still do boxing with a messed up toe. Still roll around with a messed up toe, and it wasn't even messed up, it was just aching. But I was just like, my big toe. But anyways, that's enough for me. It's your homie Pedro. What's happening? Hope I put a smile on your face. Peace.